For more than 40 years, I've worked with entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders of every shape and size. Some were building their very first business in a cramped co working space. Some were running a $100 million enterprise and still felt like they were holding everything together with tape and grit. And across all of these experiences, I learned something surprising. Founders rarely fail because they aren't smart or driven enough. They fail because the world around them changes faster than they do. Founders are brilliant in the early days. They improvise, they pivot, they survive on instinct and opportunity. But the moments the marketplace shifts, when competitors innovate, when demand softens, when the customers expect something different, those same instincts that once created success can suddenly create risk. And that's when founders start relying on the skills they're most comfortable with skills that worked in the past, but are nowhere near enough for what's coming. The truth is this: markets change, organizations grow, complexity increases, but founders often don't. And that's where companies begin to fall apart. After decades of coaching founders, I've seen the same three crisis points again and again. One, product sales slow or stall. Two, the company runs out of money. Three, market and organizational complexity outgrow the founder's capabilities. When any of these occurs, fear takes over. Founders start grasping at straws. They work harder, longer, more frantically, hoping effort alone will reverse the trend. It never does. Because the real problem isn't effort, it's avoidance. Avoidance of three critical practices that save companies, but that entrepreneurs absolutely hate. Let's break them down. Number one, strategy isn't optional. Most founders believe that flexibility is their superpower, and in the early days it is. But when product sales slow and the marketplace evolves, flexibility becomes chaos. The business no longer needs improvisation, it needs direction. Strategic planning feels slow, difficult, even corporate, so founders avoid it. But planning is not about bureaucracy, it's about clarity. It requires stepping back, examining weaknesses, making trade offs, aligning your teams, crafting a clear and compelling story about the future, and backing it up with numbers, real numbers. Good strategy forces a founder to confront uncomfortable truths, exposes what is and what isn't working. It requires saying no where the earlier years required saying yes. And that's why it's so hard. But in a changing market, strategy is not a luxury, it's a survival tool. Lesson number two: raise capital before you need it. Here's the truth most founders never admit: they don't avoid raising capital because they value independence, they avoid it because they're intimidated by it. Raising money means learning the language of finance, articulating your strategy with precision, pitching investors who push back, and leaving the company long enough to build relationships with the people who may save it. It's vulnerable, it's humbling, it's exhausting, but it's also necessary. A changing marketplace often demands new products, new capabilities, new people, new technology, and that requires capital. Without it, you're stuck playing defense. With it, you can play offense. No founder has ever looked back and said, I wished I'd raised money later. Make the hard people decisions. That's where founders struggle the most. In the beginning, your early employees feel like family. They helped you build the business. They believed in you when no one else did. But businesses evolve, roles change, expectations rise, and some people can't or won't grow with the company. When productivity drops, when performance slips, when the culture stops working, founders must face the decisions they least want to make. Performance improvement plans, restructuring, furloughs, reductions in force. These decisions feel personal. They're emotionally painful, but avoiding them is often what sends a company into a downward spiral. A founder's job is not to protect current comfort. A founder's job is to protect the company's future. Early on, founders build the company. Later on, especially in turbulent markets, it's the company that builds the founder. That transition is the true test. Because being a founder is not a fixed identity. It's a set of evolving capabilities. When you embrace strategic thinking, when you build the courage to raise capital, when you make the tough personnel decisions, you don't just save your company, you grow into the leader your company needs for the next chapter. Markets will always change. Competitors will always emerge. Complexity will always increase. But founders who learn to adapt, founders who face what they fear, founders who grow with the business instead of clinging to the past, those founders succeed. Those founders build companies that last. And those founders don't just avoid bankruptcy, they create futures they once couldn't even imagine.